I can do so in very short terms. You will never be released. You will die in prison.
Good morning. Could you open the door, please? Just like to speak with you.
What?
Could you open the door, please?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Who are you?
I'll explain. I'm from the police.
You what?
I'm from the police.
What?
Good morning. Hello. I'm from the police.
What's here?
I'm from the police. My name's Naomi Main. I'm a detective. May I come in, please?
No. You can't come now. I'm just coming now. Where you want to come in for?
I'll explain because it's a bit sensitive. So we'd like to come in and speak to you properly, please.
Eh?
May I come in to speak to you properly?
I mean, look, I've just got up. I'm an old man.
I'm sorry. It's quite early.
I'm very sick. Not good at all.
You're not well?
No.
Okay.
What do you want to? What is it about?
I'll tell you inside because we don't want other people hearing. So can we just come in and get you seated and
Yeah,
have a chat?
yeah,
Thank you very much. It's Mr. Headley, yes?
Eh?
Mr. Headley?
Yeah.
Ryland Headley, lovely. Thank you very much. This is my colleague Jo. We've just got a camera recording as well, just so you're aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm here today because I'm arresting you
Yeah.
on suspicion of the rape and murder
Yeah.
of Louisa Dunne, which happened in Bristol in June 1967.
Yeah.
The reason I'm arresting you
Yeah.
is because the police have investigative material that indicates you are responsible for that rape and murder of Mrs. Dunne,
Yeah.
which happened at Britannia Road in Easton, Bristol, June 1967.
Yeah.
You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention when questioned, something that you later align in court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
Yeah.
I need to do this.
Where all this come from? Where you get all this from?
We have investigative information, so we have material that suggests that it's yourself, and we need to basically arrest you and take you to the custody so that we can conduct an interview with you, so we can hear, your event and interview about it.
Into what?
Interview you about it and get your account.
Our job this side of the desk is to look after your rights, your entitlements and your welfare. So that's what I'll be doing today. The officers will be carrying out an investigation, there'll be an interview and things that need to happen. But I need to go through a certain amount of things with you whilst you're here at the desk. You've been arrested before? Have you been arrested before? You have? Okay. I need to find out why you're here to start with, so you're going to have to bear with me, alright? And then I'll need to go through some questions. Like I say, my job is to look after you whilst you're here with us, nothing more, alright?
So we have investigative material and therefore believe that Mr. Headley committed the rape and murder of a lady called Mrs. Louisa Dunne, which occurred in June 1967 at Britannia Road in Bristol.
So linked forensically.
Yeah.
Why did you go through the upstairs window?
No comment.
Is it because you wanted to go into the bedroom?
No comment.
Okay. So, what has then made you come back out of that window and go in via a different window instead?
No comment.
Okay.
No comment.
You look a bit confused by that. Do you want to ask me something?
He said, no, and you often climbed up 2 windows at this and that people's house. No comment. A bit annoying question, No
Okay.
comment.
So, when police have attended the following day, they've noticed that the bedrooms upstairs have locks on them inside the corridor. So if you had entered via that upstairs window, you would have been trapped in the bedroom. Is that why you then came back out
No comment.
and went through a different window?
No comment.
Did this not happen? You can tell me if this is rubbish and it didn't happen.
No comment.
Okay. Because remember, this is your opportunity to give us your account. And if you didn't do this, this is your time to tell us.
No comment. I didn't. No comment.
You didn't.
No comment.
And on the upstairs window, when police attended the next day, there was a handprint or partial handprint found on the window. Obviously, you've had your handprints taken today while you've been in custody. When we compare those, do you think they're going to match?
No comment.
Okay. Could it be your handprint?
No comment.
Is there any legitimate reason why it might be your handprint?
No comment.
Because if you didn't do this, have you ever been there for any other reason that would explain why your handprint might be there?
No comment.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to talk about what happened next. Okay, so once you've gone in, or somebody has gone in, we believe it to be you, through that window, Louisa has been attacked. Can you tell me about that?
No comment.
Where did you find her in the house?
No comment.
Or did she find you, maybe?
No comment.
Okay. How did she react to seeing you in the house?
No comment.
Did you have the impression you were welcome?
No comment.
Was there any conversation between you and Louisa?
No comment.
Okay. Was she expecting you?
No comment.
There were a number of people nearby who heard a scream in the early hours of the morning.
No comment.
Did Louisa scream?
No comment.
What made her scream?
No comment.
Can you tell me how Louisa died?
No comment.
Did she die as a result of your actions?
No comment.
And if so, what were your actions?
No comment.
Was it an accident?
No comment.
Ryland Headley, you've been found guilty by the jury of the murder of Louisa Dunne and of her rape. Offences committed on the same occasion as long ago as 1967. I want to say something at the outset about the woman you killed. At the time of her death, on the 27th or 28th of June of 1967, Mrs. Dunne was a 74-year-old widow living in her own home at 58 Britannia Road, Easton, Bristol. She'd lived in this house for many years. She was born in 1892. As a young woman, she was involved in the birth of the labour movement and its mission to improve the lives of ordinary working people. Mrs. Dunne had been married twice in her lifetime. Her first husband, Edward Parker, was a notable figure in Bristol, serving as an alderman and being a leading light in the Labour Party. He died in 1945. This marriage produced two daughters, Iris and Edna. Her granddaughter, Mary Dayton, recalls that her mother spoke of Edward's deep love and affection for Louisa. Their home was a hub of social and political activity during this period. Mrs. Dunne led a simple life, supported by her old age pension and supplementary allowance. She did not possess any amount of money in the house, nor any valuables. Her few treasured possessions included her books and the deeds to her house. You broke into her home. You sexually assaulted her, and in doing so, you caused her death. You may not have intended to kill, but you planned to rape her, and you brutally attacked her when you did so. You met her screams and struggles with force sufficient to kill. Diligent work by the police and forensic evidence, particularly the DNA match, definitively linked you to this crime after decades when you must have thought that you had avoided detection. The palm print found at the scene, now identified as yours, provided further evidence of your presence and attempts to gain entry through a window. I commend the Crown Prosecution Service, the police and the forensic scientists for their hard work and professionalism in investigating and bringing this case to trial. The nature of these offences demonstrates a complete disregard for human life and dignity. Mrs. Dunne was vulnerable. She was a small, elderly woman living alone. You exploited that vulnerability. You treated her as a means to an end. The violation of her home, her body, and ultimately her life was a pitiless and cruel act by a depraved man. The rape of Mrs. Dunne before her murder places the offending in the most serious category. You violated the sanctity and safety of Mrs. Dunne's own home, where she had every right to feel secure. The method of killing by strangulation and pressure to the mouth, causing injuries to her face, eyes, and neck, indicates a high degree of violence and cruelty. She must have experienced considerable pain and fear before her death. In the course of the trial, the court has heard evidence about your subsequent criminal conduct, specifically the rapes and burglaries committed in 1977 and between 1973 and 1978. These offences involve the invasion of other elderly women's homes and sexual assaults. They reveal a chilling pattern of behaviour. I'm grateful for the assistance and research of all counsel. The tariff which would have been set was lower than the minimum term which would be imposed today. I've taken the rape into account as a feature which makes the murder all the more serious, and I do not therefore impose any separate penalty. For the murder of Louisa Jane Dunne, the sentence must be one of life imprisonment. Having considered all the aggravating features of this case, including the impact on Louisa Dunne's family, who have waited decades for justice, the minimum term I impose is 20 years. You will be entitled to credit for the time spent on remand, which can be calculated separately. It is normally necessary to explain the effect of such a minimum term in detail, but given your age, and for all practical purposes, I can do so in very short terms. You will never be released. You will die in prison.
Close to the mic, sir.
Is that all right? Everyone? A bit further to it, a bit further to the left. That's it. Will you look here? Okay, ready? Yep. Good afternoon. My name is Detective Inspector Dave Marchant, and I'm with the Major Crime Review Team in Avon and Somerset Police. Today, 92-year-old Ryland Headley has been found guilty of the murder and rape of Louisa Dunne, whose body was found at her home in Bristol 58 years ago. Louisa, aged 75, also known as Louise, was found dead in her home on Britannia Road, Easton, by a neighbour on Wednesday, the 28th of June, 1967. The cause of death was determined to be strangulation and asphyxiation. She had also been raped. A re-review of the case began in 2023, with our officers later sending off for items for forensic analysis, including Louisa's blue skirt, which she'd been wearing at the time she was attacked. As a result of these examinations, a full DNA profile was obtained. This profile was compared to the national database and found to be a match with Ryland Headley, whose profile was placed onto the system in 2012 following an unconnected and unrelated incident. He was arrested following a police operation in November 2024 and was taken into custody in Ipswich and interviewed by our officers. He was later charged and remanded and into custody to appear in court. Following his arrest, a palm print found on an upstairs bedroom window at Louisa's home was also found to be a match to his after new prints were taken from him in custody. Headley previously was convicted of 2 counts of rape in the late 1970s after he attacked elderly women in Ipswich following breaking into their homes overnight. One of the victims was in her late 70s, the other in her mid-80s. He admitted these offences and was initially sentenced to life imprisonment reduced to 7 years on appeal. Headley, who has a shocking and abhorrent history of violent sexual attacks on elderly women, brutally attacked Louisa in her own home, where she should have been safe. Her murder left a community in shock, and there are people living in Bristol today who can remember the impact this crime had on the city. Louisa's family have had an extremely long wait for answers, but we hope this reinvestigation and successful outcome will help them feel justice has been served and give them some form of peace and closure. Our thoughts are with them. It's important to recognise that the extensive work carried out by officers with the Bristol Constabulary in the 1960s has greatly supported inquiries that we carried out today. 20 boxes of original material were reviewed as part of our reinvestigation. Ryland Headley has left a legacy of misery and pain through his offending, and likely thought he got away with Louisa's murder until officers knocked on his door last November. Crimes of this magnitude should never go unpunished, and we remain relentless in ensuring we do everything we can to advance other unsolved murder cases in the Avon and Somerset area. Thank you. I'll now hand over to the Crown Prosecution Service.
Senior Crown Prosecutor with the South West Crown Prosecution Service Complex Casework Unit. For 58 years, Louisa Dunne's murder went unsolved, and Ryland Headley, the man that we now know is responsible, avoided justice. The passage of time has not lessened the pain for Louisa's family, and her death continues to have a traumatic impact after all these years. This conviction demonstrates the commitment of the Crown Prosecution Service to pursuing justice for the victims of crime, no matter how many years or decades have passed since the offence was committed. Today, thanks to the hard work of Avon and Somerset Police Review Team and the CPS South West Complex Casework Unit, Headley faces the prospect of spending the rest of his life in prison, and justice has been served. Thank you. I'll now hand you over to Louisa's granddaughter, Mary Dainton.
Hello, my name is Mary Dainton. I'm Louisa Dunne's granddaughter. The death of my grandmother, Louisa Dunne, has had a far-reaching impact throughout my family. I was just 20 years old when my grandmother died, and I am now almost the same age as she was when she was killed. I've only one memory of meeting my grandmother due to family circumstances. I was 14 at the time, and I visited her in hospital. My mother told me that Louisa's house in Britannia Road was a place of social and political activity. My grandfather, Edwin Parker, was a member of the early Labour Party, and he loved my grandmother dearly. Sadly, he died in 1945, and the social and political elements of my grandmother's life went with him. Louisa's brutal death had a big impact on my mother and her wider family. I don't think my mother ever recovered from it. The anxiety clouded the rest of her life. When people found out about the murder, including friends, they withdrew. There is a stigma attached to rape and murder in my experience, so I have rarely talked to anyone about this until now. Since Ryland Headley was charged, I've struggled emotionally in ways I did not anticipate, and it falls to me to speak for people who are no longer here. It saddens me deeply that all the people who knew and loved Louisa are not here to see that justice is done.